Great.
Hi, Marky. Hi, David.
Hey.
Hey, hello. I'm going to keep my camera off because I'm ugly as all hell in the morning.
No worries, no worries. Hi, everyone. I see people are still joining, so let's wait a couple of minutes more, I guess, to see if anyone else wants to join the call.
Nice background, Mark.
Hey, Mark.
Thanks. My pandemic theme for virtual backgrounds has been classic game shows. So
Beautiful.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, Daryl.
Hey guys, how are you?
Peter, awesome MC last week. Meeting was short and sweet, but Terry's was really awesome.
Thanks, it was a lot of fun. Sorry, I got a phone call at the same time here. Apologize.
Jason, can you share the HackMD link again in the chat for forgetful of us out here?
Yes, yes. I'm gonna share the Academy link again. Okay, I guess
Thank you.
we can start. So hi everyone, and welcome to the weekly Falco Community call. Please write your name in the HackMD under the Who Join section, which I just provided the link for. Also, during this call, the CNCF code of conduct applies, so please be kind and nice to each other. And last but not least, this call is being recorded, so if you don't want to be recorded, please remember to turn your camera off. So I'm gonna go through all the points in the agenda. I see we have an update for CentOS 8 kernel drivers on S3. Does anyone want to
Yes,
jump in?
yeah, that's for me. Hi, I'm David from SecureWorks. Yeah, I just wanted to provide an update on the CentOS 8 kernel drivers on S3 item I added to the agenda during the last community call. One of the patches was merged. Thank you very much for your time looking over that. We just need one of the other ones looked at real quick. It's a quick driver kit patch. So yeah, would appreciate it. And we're here to answer any questions. So, thanks.
I have a question for you, David. Did you try DriverKit and see if it builds correctly this image? Because I've seen recently that some images don't build because they want some, let's say, a builder that has a different dependencies inside. And I was curious to know if this one works fine with the current version.
The issue is it doesn't require a separate builder. So this is just for CentOS 8, And the issue is that part of the CentOS 8 builder downloads kernel devel RPMs. The issue is that since this builder was created, CentOS 8.4 and below RPMs have been moved to Volt rather than Edge. So this is just a very simple update that just takes the CentOS 8.3, 8.2, 8.1, and 8.0 RPM locations and changes them from Edge to Volt. So it's pretty simple, and that's the remaining bit that we need to get for the CentOS 8 kernel drivers to be showing up on your guys' CI/CD.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Any more questions about this topic? Okay. So going through the second topic in the agenda, there's something I wrote, which is basically trying to provide some updates about the new plugin system of Falco, since I think there have been some crucial developments in the last few weeks. Since we have the pleasure to have Mark here, which has been, one of the biggest contributors in the code base of that. Mark, do you want to give some, updates about which PRs are being merged, what's left to be done, what's the, the status of the current plugin development in the plugin system?
Yeah, I mean, to summarize, the changes kind of live in a few different repositories. In Falco Security /libs, we've got all of the supporting infrastructure for like loading plugins and managing plugins. In Falco Security /plugins, we have our reference set of plugins for like CloudTrail and JSON, and then we have some like dummy plugins for educational use. In Falco Security /plugin SDK-Go, we've got an SDK that makes it easier to write plugins in Go. And in Falco itself, Falco Security /Falco, we've got the code to actually, go load plugins, and we have rules that work with plugins and all that kind of stuff. So that's kind of like the lay of the land. The status is that we think we have working versions for everything except for Falco Security /Falco itself. That's still on a branch with a PR associated with it. Although we think the tests are likely to pass today. We were just fixing some bugs last night. But with respect to everything else, we think we've got everything in a pretty good stable spot for our first version. We just did a bunch of refactoring to make it more efficient and change the memory management. And any change like that involves a lot of downstream changes because we have to change like the code that uses the code, the docs we wrote, the examples we wrote, and all that stuff. So it takes a long time to get all that stuff fixed, but we think we're pretty close to that. And more importantly, we don't think we're going to make a change like that again. So the memory rules are pretty stable now. So I think we're pretty, just a few days, and more importantly, a few approvals by people on the owners list, which is the hardest part most of the time. But then I think we'll have things on, the master branch of everything, doing daily builds with plugins in it. So, the most important thing that we're trying to get from this first release is like get potential authors to actually go look at our APIs and our SDKs and see if it makes sense for you, and if it gives, the hooks that we have give you what you need. So that's the most important thing. So don't feel like you have to wait for it to be on the master branch. Go look at our docs, PRs, and our examples, and think of your crazy, amazing use case for a plugin, and try it out and let us know how it works.
Yeah, I added 2 links about some closed PRs. We just closed like in the past few weeks, the most important ones, but I will also add the open branches after this call for trying out with Falco because the libs one is already merged, but the Falco one isn't. So that you all can play with it. I will add it in the agenda later. Thank you, Mark.
Yep. And then one last thing. We have like a master issue checklist where we've been tracking all the changes we had to make. So you can, I just put that in the chat too, see if you want to look at it. We're
Can
down to
you
the
can you
last
please?
three- yeah.
Sorry, Mark. Sorry to interrupt you. Can you please add it to the RKMD since you're there? That will make it more
Yeah.
traceable.
Yeah, I'll do that. You can keep going.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Did you want to add anything else to that?
Oh, no, that was it. I just wanted to, I just remember we had like the master checklist. So I wanted to point that out.
Thank you. I will lead with the second point, which is the plugin SDK in Go. I worked closely with Leonardo Grasso, and also Mark and Greg Nozick, refactoring the whole SDK in Go because we ended up thinking that it was too much binded to the C exported function. So we wanted to make it more Go friendly and compliant with the new memory ownership model that Mark mentioned before. And I just wanted to show a quick demo of what developing a Go plugin looks like right now. Do you all see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So basically, defining a Go plugin for Falco right now is just a matter of defining two different types, one for the plugin itself, and in the case you're writing a source plugin, also a type for the instance, which is basically representing the event stream created after an open, right? And then it's just a matter of registering those two types in the SDK, and you're good to go. These two register function will check against some requirements, interface requirements, some methods you have to implement. So it will not compile if you don't implement those methods in your types. There are a few of them, like returning an info of the plugin, which is basically the demographic function describing what the plugin does and what its version and stuff. An init function called back by the framework once the plugin is initialized, and a destroy callback too, which is optional, but you can use it to release any resource your plugin uses. You also have an open function every time, only for source plugins, every time you open a new event stream. And you also have to return the instance type you defined before, and then another close method, which is optional. And then events are created in batch, basically, and there's a reusable batch provided by the framework, for optimization matters. And yeah, basically you also have to print a string version of each event that the plugins create. And then there's the extraction part, which basically you have to provide all the fields supported by the plugin for extraction, which can be used in filters and outputs and all that sort of stuff in SYNSP, and then the actual extraction method. And that's it, only that. This is a dummy plugin, by the way, used for educational purposes, but there are more simple ones. I think the most simple is the example for the extractor plugin, which is below 100 lines of code. And the same goes for the source only plugin. Running those plugins in Falco, it's just a matter of editing the configuration file. I'm using right now work in progress version of Falco, which is in one of the PRs Mark mentioned before. And you just have to declare that the plugin exists in a given path, declaring your initialization string and open string, and then instruct Falco to just load the plugin and use that as a source. And after you do that, you have this sort of output. Basically, right now, we made it this verbose on purpose just to see that everything works as we want. But I was able to create, actually, this is in the documentation, but this is just a dummy rule to randomly use one of the fields exported by the plugin, and everything works as intended. But this is a plugin, not the classic syscall system. And that's basically it. We really hope these few changes will make it more easier to develop plugins for the average Go developer, abstracting some of the complexity of the framework. And given that me and Leo, worked closely and ended up refactoring the whole SDK, I was thinking about proposing myself as a maintainer of the plugin SDK Go repository, and I will open a PR after this call so that we can have a discussion about it if anyone has to say something about it. And that's all on my side. Any questions or it?
Leonardo, we cannot hear very well.
We don't hear them much.
Oh, sorry. Sorry. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. I was just saying that I will be very happy to have you on board as in the plugin SDK Go project, because we worked a lot together, you know, all the architecture, both of the plugin framework, but also of the SDK. So
Big
+1.
plus one, big plus one from me as well.
Is this our vote? Or I don't know how it works. I'm definitely +1.
Any more questions about the the plugins related news or any curiosity?
Raise your hand if you've actually looked at any of the APIs or SDK or anything. Or ping in the chat. I don't know how many people are on.
Marky, raise the hand on Zoom.
By the way, we are also finishing the documentation.
Yeah, I've been, Mark wrote, I think 80/90% of that. And I've been working on that today to go through the Go SDK, which we wrote more recently. And I think we will have, a more complete version in the next few days. Once we have that, we will have a rich documentation. And we understand that there's being a huge work in progress about all these code base, but I think we're going more, the plugin system is going in a solid direction right now. Okay, let's see if there are any other points in the agenda. Yeah, there's from Marky, there's an owner's file, there's written owner's file. Do you want to jump in and expand a little bit on that?
Yeah, so for those that don't know me, I worked at Sysdig for a number of years and was one of the original maintainers for this project, especially when it was donated to the CNCF. When we moved to the owner's file, what happened is that I did not get moved over. I just realized that recently because I work for Equinix Metal and we're now using Falco within Equinix Metal. And so I reached out, said, hey, how do we do this? I was pointed to a governance document. And the first thing I noticed was that there were people in the owner's file that I know are not contributing to the project anymore. My concern is not so much following the project, or excuse me, following the process. I believe in process and we should follow it. But I do have a concern that that's not being set across the board. And that was something that I wanted to bring up here. If we are going to have people in owners files, and we definitely want that because you want to increase, community contributions, it has to be fair across the board. I would hate to see a project get dumped on because we're not following a process. So that's what I wanted to discuss here.
Yeah. I follow a bit your discussion, and I agree with you. As far I know, sorry, I don't know why you weren't added because I wasn't a maintainer at that time. I believe something happened when the maintainers moved to the new process. We can investigate about that. But regarding the other point, I mean that all people has to follow the process. I totally agree. And in my opinion, there is a thing that we are not doing right now. Every 6 months, we should review all maintainers, and we should ask inactive maintainer to step down from their position. At least this is what the governance says, if I remember correctly. Anyway, I strongly believe that all maintainer needs to discuss about that, because I agree that we have to follow the process for all people. I think
And I'm
it
totally
is
on
your
board
point.
with that.
Yeah.
I just
And
wanted to
they-
make sure that I was voicing that as a concern from a contributor's
Yeah.
perspective. Also, because what we are doing from Equinix Metal side is we are pushing people to start joining open source projects, especially the ones that we're using internally. So it just makes sense that if there is a process, we're following it. We're not showing any type of bias by not following the process for some and making others follow it.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And by the way, thank you for raising this issue.
Most welcome. I thank you. And that was all I had. I appreciate the time.
Thank you, Marky. I see there are no more points in the agenda. Does anyone else want to raise any topic? Well, if not, I think we could just wrap this up and I will give you back some of your time. Yeah. Thank you everyone to have joined the call. I'll see you all next week.
Cheers all.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Bye.